Thank you so much for joining me for this week's edition of Investing Like an Executive. My name is Andrew Barden, the CEO of the Kenyan Wall Street, and I'm here today with Abhinav Nehra, the CEO and Managing Director of CIB Kenya. Abhinav, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
It's an absolute pleasure. Now, I guess congratulations to start on becoming and being approved as the CEO and MD of CIB Kenya. I'm curious, how has this transition been for you? How has coming into the market been for you?
So it's very interesting. I've always been kind of a risk taker, and I've spent about 20 plus years with Citi globally, and then UBA and EcoBank mostly on the West Coast. And then I used to manage a technology company. But then coming into CIB, the reason I took over, it's one of those risk-taking challenges, because CIB is a massive brand built over 50 years. And their ambition is now to be a Pan-African bank. And building this from scratch, I took over this challenge because that's something which I can wear on my shoulders once I make a success of this.
Okay. And, CIB is a new brand here in Kenya.
Right.
The bank came in and acquired Mayfair Bank, which I know many viewers, many Kenyans know. So I'm curious, just to introduce us for people who may not know CIB Kenya, what is it?
CIB is the third most profitable bank on the continent, with a balance sheet size which is probably somewhere close to all the Kenyan banks put together. Last year's net profit was $1 billion. This year we are aiming for $1.5 billion. And this year we are, in fact, next week we are celebrating 50 years of CIB Egypt.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And we have some very, very vibrant and strong investors on our board, including the Sovereign Fund of Abu Dhabi and Fairfax and those guys. And for them, it's been a great success story as far as Egypt is concerned. And it's listed on New York, London, and Cairo stock exchanges. Okay. So for them, it was now what next? And I think it made sense for CIB to get into the rest of Africa because the business models are very similar, or the economies, the dynamics are very similar. Whether it's to do with the credit bureau, whether it's to do with the digital landscape, whether it's to do with financial inclusion, and Kenya made a lot of sense because Kenya is always at the top of the pyramid as far as Africa is concerned.
Yes.
So that's when we took this opportunity to acquire Mayfair. First, we started off with 51% in 2020, and then we said, now let's take the full plunge. And in 2023 is when we fully acquired, Mayfair and rebranded it as CIB. Now for us, this not only becomes important for us to make a success in Kenya, but this is a hub for the rest of Africa.
Okay. And you primarily focus on commercial banking. Do you have a retail arm? What does that look like here in Kenya? Yeah.
So as of now, we only have commercial and SME because we have our distribution is limited. We have 7 branches, 4 of them in Nairobi, 2 in Mombasa, 2 in Eldoret, but we're expanding very fast because we opened 1 branch in 2023. We opened our branch in CBD in Mombasa in 2024. So we are taking those steps to expand our distribution, but our focus as of now remains commercial with a bit of retail, more in the catchment area of our branches to focus on. But as we expand, I'm not a great fan of brick and mortar distribution in Africa because it comes with this cost and challenges. Yeah. So once we are able to establish this brand, we'll be now able to upgrade our digital stacks. And maybe look at a digital bank. In fact, to talk about it, we have just launched a digital bank in Egypt last month.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, we were talking before the interview. I mean, for us as the Kenyan Wall Street, digital distribution, digital reach is where it's at. So, I think there's some alignment just on strategy there. Yeah. Now, one of the big topics recently within Kenya's banking space has been the changes to core capital requirements. And so I'm curious, how is that looking for CIB Kenya? And what, I guess, assistance, what work, or what support do you receive from CIB Egypt back home, to help support you in reaching that core capital requirement? Because it's quite substantive.
Yeah. So I think for CIB as a group and CIB Egypt, infusing capital, it's not only about the regulatory part of it. I think it's more the term of commitment. And, 10 billion is not a large, thing for, and I would rather take this as a positive, right? Because with the size of CIB, Egypt especially, 10 billion capital is not an issue. In fact, we were supposed to meet our deadline of 3 billion by December, but we already got our capital in July.
Okay.
Right. So we are now very close to, we are almost at about 2.9 now, and the more capital is coming in. But for us, it's more strategic. It's about contributing to the economy, in putting in the right business models, for supporting the economy, supporting the trade corridor between Egypt and Kenya, that kind of stuff.
I'm curious on that. You mentioned trade corridor between Kenya and Egypt. I'm curious, what trade goes on between Kenya and Egypt, and what are, I guess, some advantages in companies beyond yourself that have presence in those multiple markets?
So I'll give you an example. Egypt is the largest importer of Kenyan tea.
Okay.
Right. Almost about close to $100 million worth of tea gets exported into, because an Egyptian can't wake up without his tea.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And most of the tea coming in from there is Kenyan tea.
Okay.
And so in fact, I was very happy with the numbers. I was in Mombasa a couple of weeks back, and somebody told me that you guys have already captured about 30% of the tea market.
Wow.
So some of the big boys in Mombasa now bank with us. And in fact, during the last 2-3 years, when we had some issues on the dollars, we were really able to support the tea companies. Thing again, under COMESA, there are a lot of benefits which come both ways to people exporting from Kenya, as well as to the Egyptian businesses coming into Kenya.
Okay.
Right, and we support that. I'll give you an example, not naming it, but I recently, one of the largest manufacturers of oral care products, he had approached me, and we had connected him to some of the manufacturers back in Egypt because they bank with us. And now those goods are being manufactured in Egypt and imported. They are being white labeled and imported into Kenya.
Oh, okay.
So under COMESA, there are a lot of these benefits which accrue to the people both ways.
Okay, yeah, I even know I bought a pack of Oreos the other day because I kind of have a sweet tooth, to be honest.
There you go. Yeah.
And I looked on the package and it said, made in Egypt.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
companies like that, I think it's very strategic.
It
and
is.
even that whole thing around currency, that's huge, where you're able to come in and say, hey,
Absolutely.
it's really hard to trade direct shilling to Egyptian pound, so how can you mediate that under the group structure?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you had mentioned that, the acquisition, of Mayfair was, kind of the start of this Pan-African strategy, this Pan-African move. I'm curious if there's any, insight or knowledge. You don't have to tell me anything not unannounced. We are a media company, so we'll be obliged to run it. But, about, maybe some of the next steps after CIB Kenya.
Okay. So I think for us, the first thing is to stabilize the CIB Kenya business model. So for what we have done that, I'll give you a few things when you spoke about what's the kind of support coming in from Egypt. So we are already firstly, we are very clear, we are here to stay, right? So we are now investing in the best in the world digital technology stack on the core banking side. So we run on a Temenos stack back in Egypt, T24, and we are now replicating that stack here in Kenya. And Kenya becomes a hub for us now to pan into the rest of East Africa and then beyond that. Right. And similarly, we have a digital factory back in Egypt. We are upgrading our digital banking stack. We are upgrading our internet banking, and we've introduced something called the share services model, where there are learnings both ways, right? Because for me, I think I worked with multinational like Citibank and some other banks, UBA, EcoBank. For me, I think it's a question of you have a success story back there in Egypt. You have a ready, or I would say, a half-baked product, which has been a success back in Egypt. For us now is to just bring that half-baked product, put it in an oven here, blend it with the local spices, and serve it to the customers. And I'll give you an example of that, is that one of our largest successes back in Egypt is we don't do asset-based lending. We focus on the customers, especially SMEs and large corporates, on their cash flows.
Really?
Yes. So for me, it is not that if you have an asset, and I'll give you an example of that and why some of these SME models fail, is that there is a budding SME, and Africa is huge. The backbone of Africa is SMEs. This SME now wants to borrow. He has good cash flows. His product is selling. He's revolving his working capital, but he doesn't have assets. How do you fund the guy? I am willing to now fund that guy based on debentures or whatever, use different instruments to fund him and base it on his cash flows.
Right? Interesting.
And we currently have, in fact, to be truthful to you, on a portfolio the size we have in Egypt, we have sub 2% delinquency.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. I think we'll have to talk after this about how we can work together as the Kenyan Wall Street.
Absolutely.
Because I know I have definitely gone, I won't say my current bank, but I've definitely gone to the bank, and even despite, very good cash flow and provable cash flow, contracts, invoices, and everything, even if I asked for 200,000 shillings, which is, it's really not that much for a company like mine.
Yes.
People are going to be
ask you some major questions and ask for some assets.
We need the title of your car. I was like, it's 200,000 shillings. All right. Well, that's really interesting. And I'm curious on that side as well, cash flow based lending. How unique is that in the Kenyan market?
Very unique in the Kenyan market. In fact, I would say Sub-Saharan Africa, I've spent 15 years of my career in Sub-Saharan Africa. One of the reasons why the banks are they shy away, the big boys especially, they shy away from this kind of a risk-based, models. They're more into asset-based. And I think one of the biggest, I would say, bane of NPLs in Kenya and the rest of Africa is because of this asset-based lending. Because I would rather lend to a vibrant cash flow business, rather base my whole lending philosophy, right, onto an asset, right? Because that business can go bust, and then I'm running all over the legal system to sell those assets.
It seems incredibly complicated to do just asset-based lending, and I feel cash flow overall is a better proof that you can pay it back than the fact that you have an asset. I mean, imagine if you got a government tender to pave a road, many years ago. So you bought a very nice, LX 600, it's nice, but you don't have any tenders or any revenue coming through now.
Yes.
So the bank's going to get your car at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And they're going to spend a lot of money in going through the courts as well. You had touched on the technology stack that you're bringing in. And to be honest, I had told you that I've done a lot of work within the fintech industry. I sit on the board of the Fintech Association in Kenya. and such. So I'm curious, what exactly, are you bringing in with that technology? And then how does that compare with other banks here in Kenya? Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs like myself have had issues with, hey, maybe you took a work trip to New York or LA, all of a sudden things aren't working and they're like, oh, visit a branch. Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles. There's no branch here.
Exactly.
So I'm curious, what exactly will that technology do and how does it compare with the rest of banks in Kenya?
So just to step back, banking, especially core banking, the old historical stacks like what we have currently is, Finical or FlexCube runs another one, FlexCube or these stacks. These are old generation, very stubborn stacks because these are hard-coded, right? Even to connect an API to them is a challenge, right? Whereas the one we are bringing in is Temenos T24, which we operate on in Egypt, right? Which is a digital stack. And the advantage of digital stack is that anytime you need an upgrade or you want to enhance it, you can it's like putting one block over the other.
Yeah. It's like Legos.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
And, this also gives us an edge because we can now very quickly enhance our digital app.
Okay.
Right? We can relook at our digital banking, and it makes it much easier. At some stage, as I said, that I am a great fan where say, okay, brick and mortar in Kenya or in Africa is not the greatest model to work for. In fact, one of my previous employers, I was hated for closing some 700 branches, right? Because it doesn't work out. The whole dynamics, the cost of real estate, the cost of people, the cost of generators, the cost of security, and the works, right? Imagine having a branch down in Malindi, right, with the real estate and everything. I believe in the model. You need to establish your brand. You need one brick and mortar where your brand is recognized, because the customer in our emerging market specifically still want to see something on the ground. But so when you want to bank with a bank, you want to go and probably open an account and feel comfortable. But after that, you probably will not want to visit the bank. You'll need the best of state-of-art digital app where you can transfer money, you can operate, you can do whatever you want to do. So this kind of a stack helps us do that.
Okay, interesting. And based on your previous answers, I can kind of guess the answer to my next question. But it's involving, customer experience, customer engagement. People who have really good customer experience, customer engagement, that's really what separates a bank from a legendary bank.
Exactly.
And so I'm curious, what is your philosophy around, the customer experience within the banking system?
So I think that's one of the success factors for CIB in Egypt. So if you go back to history in Egypt has some very large banks, one of the large local nationalized banks.
Yeah, NBE, right. You have,
Bank Misr, Bank the Care, whatever, right? But the reason today CIB is the most profitable private bank is because of the customer first journey which we've all followed. In fact, if you go and see some of the branches in CIB Egypt, right, we employed people from the hospitality industry to even model our branches. Okay. So for us, it has to be a 5-star experience for a customer.
Okay, so they feel like family when they walk through the door.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Now, earlier, you had said that this year CIB Egypt is celebrating its 50-year anniversary. Curious, what do you have planned for that? Are you traveling to Cairo for that celebration?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And we're taking quite a few of our customers there to make them feel like a real experience of CIB Egypt, because in Egypt, the from the moment you land up at the airport.
You guys are everywhere.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Even the aero bridges are branded as CIB.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And that's my vision for Kenya, truthfully speaking.
Is to expand the brand.
Exactly.
Expand the customer base. And everything. Very interesting. Very interesting. Now, I'm curious, I guess this is more of a personal question. I'm curious about your management style. Leading a bank, you have a lot of people that you're leading, and as CEO, you're tasked with leading the vision and implementing it, making sure it happens. I'm curious, how would you describe your management style?
I've been brought up in a Citibank culture. We used to have a visionary global CEO called John Reed back in the 80s and 90s. And the philosophy I've been brought up under, where I was told from the day I joined the bank, saying, go and innovate and take risks. As long as it's taken with the right attitude, even your failure will not be reflecting in your appraisals. I remember once calling up my ADA director back in India and saying, so-and-so is, one of our associates is committing a fraud. He told me, Maga, why are you even disturbing me? You're paid for that. So that's my management style, where I give a lot of freedom, a lot of, leash to my people to run and drive the initiatives which they do. And I think one of the reasons where I really would say have a lot of respect for Kenya and its banking system is that the youngsters here are really bright. Not only Kenya, Africa overall. I worked for a long time in Nigeria. So if you really give a task to a Kenyan and a young Kenyan, right, they really deliver it for you.
Absolutely. I think that's very unique, your management style within Kenya's banking industry. I've met a lot of banking executives. I'm friends with many as well, but I find the banking industry in Kenya is very hierarchical. And I've found, some institutions, even an expense as small as $1,000, the CEO has to sign off on it. So I think that's unique, and that's also how I manage, the Kenyan Wall Street as well, has been very much like, I'm going to empower even the intern,
there you go,
to make decisions themselves. That's why I put a door on my office so people can't come in as much and ask questions.
Exactly.
Awesome. So, now we're sitting in September. So we're, I guess, almost halfway through H2. I'm curious, what excites you about this second half of the year?
I think we've built up over the last 15 months I've been here. I think I've brought in a lot of local talent. We've introduced a shared services model. So I have a lot of support coming in from Egypt, right?
Because there's certain things you don't need to duplicate.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Things like technology, I told you. Technology, processes, those are ready products available there. I just need to bring them, blend them with local spices, as I said earlier, and introduce them. So we already introduced some new products. One of them being an everyday saver product, where your interest on your account is credited on a daily basis.
Okay.
Right. I'm launching a very unique prepaid card product here, because prepaid, to my mind, especially for the Kenyans, is a very unique proposition here. Because whether it's for travel, whether it's for education of your children, for health, for trade, Kenyans use, and it has an use case both inbound and outbound. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised nobody has looked at it, because I had done this about 20 years back, even in Nigeria. Right. And Nigeria has no tourism. And imagine this country has a huge amount of tourism.
Yeah.
So the opportunity is massive here.
Okay, so that you can target your own customers, who may be going to Dubai on a trip, and they need a way to, you don't want to give them the company debit card, but you want to be able where they can handle.
Imagine most of the wealthy Kenyans, or even upper middle class, they have their kids studying abroad in the US and UK.
Yes.
Right. Now, instead of transferring money on a huge expense on RTGS, you give him a prepaid card and you load it for him every month. He can pay his school fees, he can pay his rents, he can pay everything with that.
Yeah. Interesting. But then also for tourists coming in, you said?
Yes. So imagine you have a kiosk at the airport. So I actually faced it with, I have about 20 friends coming in from India a couple of weeks back. And they all were running helter-skelter to exchange money at the money exchanges.
Yeah.
Imagine if you have a kiosk out there, right? You do your basic KYC and you hand him over a plastic, right? He loads $1,000, he spends it. It's so convenient for him.
That's good. That's good. Interesting. You'll have to, I guess, find a way to also work with M-Pesa as well,
Exactly.
It wasn't until I got a SIM card that life got really easy.
Yes.
Because even if you go to, say, Maasai Market, it's hard to find a POS sometimes.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. But no one thought about that here yet. Wow.
Imagine that.
Sometimes it's not about inventing something new. It's just about applying something new somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Nigeria has a very big card culture as well.
It does, yes.
Yeah, much more so than mobile money here. Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, I think we're almost done. I think we've covered a lot of ground. It's been awesome speaking with you, learning about everything. But I do have one more question that I ask all of my guests. It's mandatory. But the question is, when you were first starting your career, what did you spend your first paycheck on?
My first paycheck was actually spent on buying a special gift for my parents.
Okay. Well, that's nice. That's nice. I've heard a lot of different answers over the years.
Okay. Interesting.
I actually find, especially in West Africa, that's been a huge thing. It's like tradition in Nigeria. You have to give your first full paycheck to your parents, to your family, And then here I've had all kinds of different answers from cabinet secretaries, they're saying, they, spent it on a watch or different things. So I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Well, Abhinav, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thank you, Andrew.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.